Hello, I'm Beck and welcome to my studio in Berlin. Beatport have asked me to do a studio session today where I explain my production processes. So I'm going to take you through a track from my latest EP which is called Sines and Breaks, and the track is called Sines and Breaks 01. It's a more experimental EP from me and I will just give you a little preview now. As you can hear, I've used breakbeat elements, hence the name, and also the main melodic part is created with just a sine wave, which is why I have called the whole EP Sines and Breaks, because I wanted to see what I could come out with by combining these in different ways. So to start with, I always start with the kick and the lower frequencies if I want to add a bass line or anything like that. So here I recorded the kick using the analog rhythm by Electron. I love this drum machine, I've had it around 7 or 8 months now. So I'm usually putting the patterns in there and then recording each part separately. So I've actually got 2 kicks in this track. Together they sound like this. So I have a top part of the kick, which you can hear now. I've gated it, I've EQ'd it, taken all the low end away, so it's just the high frequencies. I've added some reverb, which just gives it that space and slight distortion. And I've also, most importantly, added this bitrate reduction, which really helps to give it extra distortion and that character. So the bottom part of the kick sounds like this. I've gated this, and I have added a supercharger, which is a really good VST, which saturates and gives character to sounds. So without it, it sounds like this. Not quite as full. I've also boosted the frequencies here because I like my kicks to still shine through the other elements, and I find that if you give it the boost around here, the top of it still pokes through even when you've got lots of hi-hats and other elements layered over it. The next part that I want to talk about is the bass line, which I created also with the analog rhythm. So this is just to show you how I would go about doing my kick and bass here with the analog rhythm. So first I would put a kick on every beat. And here you can tune the kick very easily. If I wasn't going to use a bass line, I would probably make the kick a lot more boomy. Here you can get that punch I was talking about, which I accentuated with the EQ. But because I'm adding a bass line, I'm going to make that more of a punchy kick. So here, this is simply what I would do. I would add And that's how easy it is. It sounds like this. And with the kick it sounds like this. I like to do bass lines with toms usually just to give it a bit more rhythm. I'm a big fan of them. I'm not really very often just using a kick. I've also added, just using a drum roll in a MIDI track here, a knocking kind of sound that's kind of, is offbeat, so it just gives it, again, keeps it interesting, adds a little bit of rhythm to the beat, and just adds an extra interesting element there. There's parts where I've filtered this, so it sounds like that, just to keep it interesting and always changing. The next part I can talk about are the hi-hats. So I've just got 2 hi-hats layered over each other. I've got a straight hi-hat and then I've got 16ths. So together they sound like this. One of them is a sample and the other one, the 16th notes I recorded with the AR. Again, I like to layer it just to build up that energy in the track. So I've done quite a bit of EQing to this here. And with the other one, I've added erosion. Again, it's another way just to add distortion. As you can tell, I'm a big fan of distortion, so any way I can distort something, I will. I've gated this again, and I've filtered it when it comes to parts like the break. Okay, so next I can talk about the synth, the melody part of the track. This I made using Operator, which is a really powerful built-in synth in Ableton. I would have definitely used this Electron Digitone, which is incredible. It's an FM digital synthesizer, which I recently got, and it's actually brand new out. But I didn't have it at the time, so I used Operator. So this is what it sounds like all together. So if I break this down, the first track I've just got 4 notes. It's really simple actually. And it's got a reverb and a delay here on this, just to give it that space and fill up the frequencies. And then the second track part, I have taken 2 notes of that original sequence and moved them an octave higher, as you can see. And the third part is that I've taken 2 notes and moved it an octave lower than the original part. I've split it into parts so that the track can have quite a clear progression. Like I said earlier, it's quite a hypnotic track, so I think it's nice to really captivate people on the dance floor by having very clear segments of the track. And I have added, as this goes along, more delay and reverb to build up tension. Next, I've got 2 pads. One's just more like a very thin atmosphere, which you'll hear I do in a lot of tracks, just to give it a little character straight away. The second is I have created a pad using the Jupiter, which is a VST that I really love. I would love the synth one day, but for now it is going to have to be just in the box, which I don't mind too much actually. So what I've done here is I've just got 1 note and it's being constantly re-triggered. If I play it, you can hear. And then as this builds to the track, again I've just used reverb and delay to really add tension to this until it breaks and the kick comes back in. So you get this nice kind of swell. Always sounds amazing if you have like a super good sound system as well on the dance floor. Okay, then I just have 2 more elements to talk about, no 3. So I've just recorded a very plain ride with the analog electron, again just to give it energy and build up that tension. And the essential part of this track that I love are the break beats. This is actually just a sample. It's very, very difficult to create that very natural swinging drums that a drummer would have within a drum machine. So that's the reason I've used it as a sample. I've got little snippets of it which I've cut up and used earlier on in the track just to introduce the idea, so that it's not a huge shock when it comes in after the break. And then I have also used a little cymbal to build up parts of the track, and that usually appears when the breakbeat is playing. So again, it sounds like this. And I've used, again, a delay and reverb on that. I'm such a big fan of delay and reverb. I just basically go through and pretty much automate as much as I can after I've arranged a track, just to, again, keep it as interesting as possible and add energy and really make those critical moments in the track even bigger and even more special. When it comes to arranging, that's something I found quite hard about production, especially in the beginning, is having an amazing loop that you're really happy with and then thinking, how the hell do I get this into a track? So what I do to make it easier is, one thing I always do, and this is in my master project file, is I have an EQ on the master, and I also leave this here so I can see the levels as I'm mixing, not that that has to do with arrangement. But putting the EQ on the master is great because then I can map out the track pretty much straight away. So I will usually have a break somewhere around 3 minutes, and then there'll be other parts in the track that I want to build tension, so I'll map these out, and then I'll always use markers as well. Just setting these things out means that it's much easier to go about arranging the track, and you don't really have to think so much. So another strange thing, well, it's not, I mean, these aren't strange things, but a strange thing that I do compared to most people is I actually try and now arrange as I go, or I will kind of lay out the elements as I'm finishing them. Again, it just helps to not get stuck in this like loop and then I have to arrange the track habit, which can be a bit daunting. So I think that's pretty much it actually. I really hope that you enjoyed the track and learnt something maybe from me, and yeah, stay posted. Thanks guys, have a good day.